Ladies and gentlemen, frogs and cats, it's Nathan Waters here, and it's Tristan Grace.
Tristan Grace, and it's time for Future Balls.
It's a podcast. Balls come out, topics come in.
Yeah,
and we mix them.
We get random ideas and try to come up with something new. And they finally came out. Those balls took a long time to come out this time. Well, let's look at number one. We have Neuralink. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, yes.
I like that. Number two, we have Psychedelics.
Oh, fuck yeah. That's a good match.
Yeah, I like that. Fuck, okay. Neuralink and Psychedelics is the ultimate psychedelic, right? Holy shit.
Yeah, well, I like that. The immediate place you can go to that as well, you could have Neuralink just trigger any type of psychedelic experience on the fly.
Holy shit, yes. And there's already a large community out there. I'm not sure if you've been to it, but on the subreddit, Rift into the Mind. So it's all about, psychonauts and stuff, like putting on VR, and you kind of do the most trippiest, awesome shit that you can do. So yeah, it's been a few years since I've been there. Well, you don't have to be sober, but it looks pretty cool. Rift into the Mind. So a lot of awesome shit you can do there. So, I mean, there's already going to be a growing community there, because holy shit, if you can actually change what your brain is doing and thinking at this point, psychedelics are going to be off the charts.
I wonder if Neuralink can do, if it can replicate the chemical processes involved. Because, obviously, it could replicate, Neuralink could theoretically put you into a complete, fully realistic simulation of whatever you want to imagine. Like being in, real VR or real AR without any glasses or any any augmentations. But I don't know, obviously psychedelics, shrooms and LSD and DMT, they're basically triggered by chemical responses in the brain, I imagine.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because it's kind of like if Neuralink is just jumping in there and intercepting, say, the visual cortex or whatever, just jumping in there on your current senses. That's not really how you experience psychedelics, because it does change your mind. You do think in a different way when you are on psychedelics. It's not just the popular media portrayal of, oh, you see crazy shit. That's not really the important part of it.
Maybe it could be designed to release certain chemicals. I'm pretty sure things like DMT are naturally occurring in the brain, but obviously things like LSD and shrooms, it's introducing some chemical which is binding to certain receptors.
Well, I think a lot of steroids and a lot of that stuff, all the doping scandals, how they actually get around the doping is because it's just tricking the body to release more of a certain thing that's needed. So that's how you can be kind of oh, this just happened before. Or you put you save your blood from before, and then you put your blood back in as you get closer to the race and all of that shit. That's the whole doping
aspect.
What
the whole mRNA vaccines, that's basically what they're doing there.
Right.
Injecting the code to teach your cells how to make the spike protein. So maybe you could do a similar thing where it's mRNA-based psychedelics, where it's it's training your cells how to make the psychedelic chemicals that you need. Then maybe if you pair that with obviously you don't want to be you take a DMT mRNA shot and it's just you're just permanently fucking high.
Yeah. Holy shit, you just perpetually high. Perpetually brain fucked.
But what if you could somehow pair that with Neuralink, where it's okay, now the chemicals are kind of primed in your system somewhere in your cells, and then Neuralink can then trigger that release of chemicals if it needs to. So it's it almost Neuralink would trigger your cells to create the chemicals, to create LSD, or to create psilocybin, or to create MDMA, or to create
Adderall,
DMT, or Adderall, Viagra. Trigger manufacturing drugs inside of your cells, but triggered and controlled by a neurological stimulation.
Holy shit, that could be awesome.
Is that even doable, or am I making shit up?
Well, I mean, why couldn't it be doable? Let's just go from first principles here. There's no real reason why it couldn't be, right? If you're trusting your cells, if you had the right things inside you to actually manufacture it, if you could actually control when you wanted, say, caffeine to come in, when you wanted, say, Adderall to focus on a task, and all of the different drugs that are available at certain times, you just decide cognitively, like, with your brain, I want this to happen. I want this to happen. And it just enhances whatever you're doing right now. I mean, that must kind of happen right now with different hormones and all of that shit within your body. It determines what needs to be released. So we're just kind of adding onto that system with all the awesome compounds that we've found, some synthetic and some not. That would be fucking sweet. Caffeine on demand.
You think Viagra, and Viagra happens.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's it. You start to get aroused, and you're like, you write a little program for your brain, you're just like, yep, immediate, like, fucking 10. I'd see that in the future, though. Like, if we actually have total control over our bodies, if these tiny little, like, chemicals and drugs and all of that shit can actually improve it so much, then why aren't they just there nonstop?
Yeah.
I guess you get into the opioids and all of that there's a lot of dark shit that could happen that way. You see that in a lot of all the sci-fi stuff out there, right? You get addicted to it all. You're just like, my life's shit. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. If you, well, I think that's obviously like one of the dark sides of Neuralink is you end up going down the path where people just pursue ultimate pleasure. And they become those, the rats pressing the button to get the cocaine hit.
Yeah.
And they just, live in perpetual. And on top of that, because you can have like full realistic, like indistinguishable VR, like it's like literally like Matrix level shit. You pair that with the ability to control your chemical system and your neurological system. Yeah, that's a recipe for disaster.
Scary as fuck. Have you played Shadowrun before?
Oh, no.
It's like a tabletop role-playing game thing, but they've all got computer games and stuff. But they have this thing that, like, the drug that people are addicted to is called BTLs, which are better than life. And it's essentially, it's like VR, and like they're just junkies that are perpetually in the virtual world doing nothing, just sitting there like stimmed out of their mind, living in the better than life.
Wow.
I'm like, that's pretty cool. I really like that concept, and you come across it.
It's like Korean teenagers.
Well, yeah. I mean, you think of it now, right? Like, I was looking at some, I was looking for a new wallpaper. I was going through like, some cyberpunk shit and all of that. And I came across like, someone sitting in their like little apartment on their computer and stuff. And I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And I was like, wow, wouldn't it be weird to go into a city, say like, Sydney or say Hong Kong or like any city, and you just think about the amount of people in like a giant apartment complex that are just sitting there staring at their screens all plugged in together. And that's what you've got with remote work. It's just all of these little people in their boxes plugged into their little screens. Just, existing there.
Fed by the machine.
Yeah, fed by the machine. You just get your food delivered.
Memes.
Yeah, you don't need to get out of your little box, right? Especially now with the pandemic, I feel like we all know what that's like.
That's like a visualization I've always wanted to see an artist create. Like, you think of like all the houses and offices, but it's not even just like it's not even just the electrical wires and stuff and the internet, but it's like sewage, electricity, water pipes. Like we see like cities as like these buildings, but it'd be great to like erase the buildings and just show the wires, like and all the infrastructure. So you could just see like it's just humans, and then all the wires and stuff around them, all the pipes and all the sewage pipes and the water pipes and the gas lines and the electrical wires and the internet wires and stuff. And
I like that.
The wire signals, the radio signals, like that would be trippy to have an artist visualize that. It
would really seem like a biological thing at that point, I feel. Like if you showed all of the different wires, it would all just branch fractally, the exact same way that like a human's nervous system would.
Yeah. And just at the end, it's like the little dendrites, the little human biological things.
Yeah.
Connected to all the neural networks.
Okay, let's add in the next ball. So we've got Psychedelics, Neuralink, and a Mars colony. Huh. Okay, well, will Mars be a celebration of this? So Mars will be away from the governing system of the Earth. Any old prejudices or any old ideas that we have. Like, there's a lot of cruft that can be gotten rid of with our current ways of living on Earth that'll change when it's in Mars. So maybe there will be a whole bunch more of I don't know, acceptance towards, say, the more Neuralink thing. Like, say, if everyone on Mars is Neuralink together, because that'd make more sense, right? If you make that a definitive thing, and holy shit, yeah, well, Elon Musk is looking like to be the person who's probably going to get us towards Mars. So maybe everyone there it'd be mandatory to have Neuralink.
Huh. Maybe not mandatory, but yeah, I like that. I like that idea, especially too, because like you'd think that, particularly in the first couple hundred years, like being on Mars is going to be like a huge risk.
It's going to suck.
And I almost think like like collectivism will definitely win over individualism on Mars, because you have to, like your survival quite literally relies on others.
Yeah.
And the collective getting you through, like, you know, versus on, you know, on Earth, like you can probably get away with just being an individual, you know, an individualistic cunt who just like doesn't give a fuck. Like you'll probably still survive. But on Mars, like if you do that, nobody's gonna like you know, feed you and give you fresh air and stuff like this. Like,
yeah.
So maybe if you are on Neuralink and you kind of act as a collective organism, like trying to survive, trying to get your chances as best to survive. Maybe that's the best way to do it.
And I guess even like as the society grew, if you had everyone connected, say you've got 10,000 people on Mars to start with, like, you know, that initial colony type level, like, you know, to build something, it makes sense, you know, having 10,000 people there all connected, all working together. As you start adding more and more people, it kind of would make more sense to keep them connected and a part of that. Like, as it grew, like that could actually be the beginning of the new, like, perpetually connected society. You think it could be ridiculously efficient to that level, because it would be primarily a technologically based society on Mars. It's not really like, you know, people out there plowing the fields. Or if you were doing that, people would be like, holy shit, why are you wasting our oxygen and food where you're just literally picking up a hoe and doing it? Get a fucking robot. Are you insane? So it's like non-stop. It's a technological society as you go to Mars. And yeah, to be connected through Neuralink, that means you're controlling the rope, you're controlling the machinery around you. Maybe that'll be the flourishing of that.
That's a cool idea. You definitely won't have web designers on Mars.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I'm just imagining like web design, like all the bullshit jobs we have on Earth. Like if you do that on Mars, if your job is sitting at a computer, basically doing like moving pixels around or moving digits, doing accounting on Mars or whatever, like that's just a waste of space. Like
I'm not 100% sold on that, because like you'd still have, say, like some people, I guess, say like project managers, like organizing. I'm throwing out 100,000 people here. Let's just say that that's the size of the colony we're talking about at this point. Like you still need to organize at that level. And that would mean there's still one person sitting down there helping to, you know, put things in order and stuff. Which, I mean,
project managers can come. Web designers can't.
Well, then the web designers make it easier for the project managers if they make it 20. Yeah, I don't know. Again, specifics there.
I feel like they do all that work on Earth.
Yeah.
Like, well, yeah. Let's go to a more like obvious, boring one, like an accountant. Like, can you imagine an accountant sitting on Mars doing accounting work?
Well, yeah, because you think about how much it would cost to actually just keep a human alive on Mars. Like, you could put a monetary value on how much it costs for you. It'd be like in the crazy millions.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, we'll just get it fucking done on Earth. So I guess it's a giant freelancer society, right? But where there's the leadership then? So it's like, is the leadership on Mars or is it really on Earth? And the people on Earth, say they're the project managers, the accountant that are allocating where the resources go on Mars, even though the people on Mars know better. It's like, hey, I shouldn't be doing this.
Oh shit! But that actually would happen. Like you think back to like the Apollo era. Like there was something like 500,000 people were hired to make that happen.
Yeah.
And you think like in a Mars colony, like, yeah, for the foreseeable future, like there's going to be like millions and millions of people on Earth that are working to keep a Mars colony happening. And so where does the power rest then? Like, because the people on Earth will be essentially like calculating and doing all the work and telling the people on Mars what the best approach is. And then, so do the people on Mars have any agency, or are they just like the people on the ISS today, where the people on the ISS today are just like slaves? They're literally just told exactly what to do, when to wake up, what every minute of their day is, it's all pre-planned and like coordinated.
Well, did you know there was a rebellion in the space station or on the rocket?
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it was a while back. Yeah, exactly. It was the Martians.
Fucking Russians.
Oh, Russians. I thought you said Martians. Wait a minute. No, it was because they had been planned down to like the minute. All the astronauts. There was a crew of them that just fucking unionized. They just fucking rebelled and said, "No, we're not doing this shit." I know you've got all these people telling us, but it's just too much, and they just didn't do work for a while. It was wonderful.
Going on strike.
Yeah, they went on strike.
What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, exactly. And I guess that's what it'll come down to with Mars, right? Like,
and they remotely turn off the air.
Yeah, so it actually allowed them. Oh god, I want to search for it now. But like, if you actually, they can't do anything about it. Like once you're on Mars, and people will know that. I feel.
Okay, so yeah, maybe they'll use that as leverage.
Yeah, like all the people who were rebelled against them, like all the astronauts who went on strike, they never went up again. But still, you can't really tell them to go off Mars. So.
Yeah,
it's gonna be an interesting balance.
Back to the what was it Neuralink
and psychedelics on Mars? Neuralink, psychedelics, and a Mars colony. God, that would be a scary place to get trippy. You're like, this is not home.
Want to just wander out into the desert.
That would be nice.
Risks are high.
Yeah, I know. Wearing a spacesuit and being high. Ooh, the urge to just take it off. No, this looks totally fine. Yeah, I wonder what the drug policy would be like on a Mars colony, because it'd be very efficient to start with. Like, when would it start being more liberal, letting people have more of a say in their downtime? Because a lot of good ideas comes from that. Like, say, you'd probably allow alcohol. I mean, I think they don't technically allow alcohol in the in orbit right now, like on the space station. Like, they say that they take that up anyway, even though the official policy is they don't allow it. But say other mind-altering drugs, like just weed, right?
Yeah, that's a hard one, because like obviously if you got so much at stake and so much capital involved, like you can't risk humans being impaired like ever, really, because it's not like there's no such thing as like, I don't think there would be such thing as like downtime, maybe, because it's like you're still there'd
have to be downtime. You can't work.
Yeah, but like say there's an emergency, it's like, well, there is no downtime now. It's like everyone's like hands on. Whereas like in on Earth, like there's clock. You go to a location where you work, and you expect to be sober while you're working, and then when you go home, like you're away from that work site, so whatever, get fucked up, it doesn't matter. But like when you're on a Martian colony, like you are always at that facility. So like if you're impaired and there's an emergency, like you're expected to be on hand and ready to act immediately. So maybe
I wonder how the military does it. Say if you're on a ship, like a submarine or a aircraft carrier or something, getting a large amount of people.
Don't allow any drugs on subs or anything.
I feel like there's always that thing about like sailors getting drunk, but maybe they wait until they get into port and they just get fucking wasted.
Yeah.
As you can tell, people, I have no fucking idea what the military does. Out of my wheelhouse.
I think too with Neuralink, something that's going to be great is like if you do get that full VR, AR, just in your head type thing, that's going to be amazing for places that are just terrible.
Well, yeah,
like I've always thought of it for like say like van life or like living in small little shitty apartments. Like VR could at some point get to a point where it's kind of like a TARDIS type style thing, where it's like you're in a small environment, maybe a shitty environment, but it doesn't feel like it because it feels like you're in a big open natural space.
Hells yeah, that'd have to be a big thing. You think on Mars, like it would be awful. Like I remember walking out like over a river that's nearby. And just thinking, hey, if I was in Mars, you wouldn't have running water. You wouldn't have these lovely trees and all this other stuff. As much as, like, I joked earlier about everyone just living in their own little, like, box. You kind of need that shit. Yeah. Maybe that's what let's just think, ultimate resolution, ultimate frame rate and all of that. Like, it's indistinguishable from putting on VR goggle. Neuralink, right? It's indistinguishable that you actually start to live in that world. You still have the lag, the latency, but at least within your own little sphere. Mars.
Yeah, definitely. I think I saw something where they're testing VR with prisoners.
Oh, really?
On Earth. So yeah. So it's a similar idea.
That's not a bad idea. That's a really good idea, actually. Do you know what they were testing it with? Like, I like that thought. You can escape to different places.
Device, but yeah. But I think it was like trying to like, it's probably a little bit of both, like trying to like keep their mental health up, but also like give them glimpses of like, if you're nice, this is what the outside world is like when you get out. So.
Yeah, exactly. Or talk about incredible training, right?
Yeah.
Just letting you know that, hey, look, when you get back into the real world, this is it. And it's a good way to escape.
Oh, yeah, that would be cool. Yeah. I mean, that's one of the big issues with prison systems is like they don't fucking teach people how to reintegrate back into society. So what do? They reoffend.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe teach them like how to get jobs and be normal members of society.
Yeah, well, there's quite a few VR things doing that. Like, I know a friend of ours, like Brennan, is working on a lot of that stuff. Is like, how to actually interact with different people in different ways and stuff. It's like it's a training course.
Yeah, you like look in a mirror and you're like a black sassy woman.
Yeah. I haven't actually used his stuff yet, but yeah. It's going to be, it's terrifying actually. The more I think about it now, living on a Mars colony at that level, that we are going to rely on so much of that, I don't know, escapism, because Mars is just going to suck.
Yeah, it's definitely going to suck. I don't understand all these people who are like, oh, all the billionaires want to escape to Mars. It's like, they're not fucking going to Mars. They might go there when they're about to die. But like, dude, they have so much money. Why the fuck would they like ruin their life that way? They'll send off everyone else. Like, fucking, you guys go live out a miserable existence. But I'm going to stay here on luscious Earth. Like,
I'd have to disagree if like they're about to die and they're going to shoot themselves to Mars. Like, unless you gave them all of your money, Mars would be like, get the fuck away. We don't need some decrepit old man coming and using up all of our precious resources. Fuck off. Go die in the sun.
Maybe they can just get flybys.
Oh, man. Terrifying. I don't know. I don't think I would go to Mars now. Like, I remember when I was younger, I was thinking that. But I do tell my son, like, when we're joking about different stuff and all that, I was like, you're going to go to Mars? Look at the stars. Would that be something you'd do? I'm like, yeah, potentially.
He doesn't even know what Mars is.
He doesn't. Just imprinting him now. The adventure.
I hope they, imagine if they have like a conscript system.
Oh, fuck.
Like,
we're shooting you to this rock.
It turns out like actually people don't want to go to Mars, so we have to like conscript them in.
I know, it's very different from like how our ancestors came to Australia, right? Like at least Australia, you come there, hey, you can breathe the air. It's actually pretty lovely and like, pretty much paradise down here. Mars, no, it's the worst desert that's ever been found. So
we could give people land parcels though. That'd be cool. It's like, hey, that bit of land over there is yours. Good luck. Nothing's grown there in millions of years.
Oh, you want a dome? You want to actually have oxygen? Oh, well, you need to work there for a bit. But the land is yours. Oh, man. Oh, anything else to say about it all?
I think we've covered a whole bunch of shit.
Yeah. I feel like there's a good new ideas there.
Yeah. Cool.
Oh.
Till next time, everyone.
Yeah. Catch you later.
Bye. I always say that. Bye.